Welcome to Out and About on the Recumbents. Let's go. Ride low. Ride recumbent. We're heading for the bridge over I-25. Hey, good morning. BJ and Joe Ondo out and about on the Recumbents. Joe had to chase a big old crow out of the out of her way. But yeah, we're on the Pikes Peak Greenway. We're on the west side of the split part of the trail. Howdy. The west side is mostly concrete now, and the other side is all dirt. So it's according to your preference of road type. And we're going a little different way. We're heading for the bridge, the pedestrian bridge that goes over I-25. This is the duck pond here. It's got a sidewalk all the way around it now. That noise you hear is a train, kind of hidden by the trees on the right side. Howdy. And yeah, well, that's Monday. And a much cooler day today. It's only supposed to be in the supposed to be in the 70s Fahrenheit today, so it's kind of nice, man, because the last few days have been blistering hot, over 90 degrees Fahrenheit. So we had a cold front come in, and it really cooled it down nicely. So today is going to be pleasant, except for it's supposed to be really windy towards the afternoon, so might be a bit of wind noise you have to put up with. I apologize for that. We're going to go over here and go through catch just a little bit of Monument Valley Park so we can catch the bridge over I-25, and then we're going to head to Manitou. Watch out for that corner, babe, because they come ripping around that corner. Ding your bell. Yeah, we got to go through this massive little parking lot here, but they have a whole bunch of fairly new pickleball courts, so it's howdy. And so pickleball has become, I guess, like the #1 sport, especially for seniors. We'd rather ride, personally. But yeah, this is one of the bigger parks here in Colorado Springs, and we're going to take a right here and go up over I-25 and up over the train. Got Joe out in front so she can ring her bell. let people know we're coming. And because with the trikes being, you know, almost 3 feet wide, not quite that wide, but I think mine's 29 and a half to 30. Because Joe has the optional quick release front wheels, hers is about 31. So it's really hard to get through a standard, you know, 32-inch door. They really should make all the standard doors, you know, like 36. That way there'd be plenty of room. Okay, so that's what we just came over right there. And on the other side of this wall is I-25. And right now we are on the Mesa Springs Greenway. At least as far as I know, that's what it's called. I've heard a couple different things. But you can definitely tell it's a Greenway because there's a lot of green. Oh, pardon me. A little on the sleepy side today. Slept kind of weird last night. Well, I have to admit I'm a little bit worried. I got to go to got to have skin surgery. They found a you know, a really small cancerous cell in my left arm, and they took out something. I can't even pronounce all the names of stuff, but took out something, did a biopsy, and said, yeah, it's cancerous. It's only the, you know, the lightest form of skin cancer. So Wednesday I got to go have it scraped out or cut out or something. It's weird because they freeze it first, and yet the freezing feels, you know, like it gets hot, you know. I had a spot on my face under my cheek, but they said that was benign, that was no problem. And yeah, it seemed strange. I thought if I was going to have a problem, it would be right there, you know. But probably a good thing, you know, that one's benign. I mean, we do use sunscreen, and we put it on several times a day, you know. But I guess I've had a lot of, I'll be 70 years old in August, and I've had a lot of outdoor jobs in my life. Plus, you know, I've been a bicyclist and a hiker, and you know, now we ride trikes, so we're exposed to the sun a lot. Of course, we prefer it that way. We'd rather be outside. Yeah, it's too bad that this camera doesn't have a zoom, because there's a really good view at Pikes Peak, especially with some of the clouds that messing around with it today. Not supposed to be a big chance of rain here in Colorado Springs, you know. We're kind of right in the middle of the state, middle-ish, you know. Maybe not top to bottom, but as far as the width, we're kind of in the middle of the state. And so basically, you know, they call where we are, you know, all the way from Fort Collins all the way down to Trinidad. They call that the Front Range, okay? Because we're basically all around, or the closest to the mountains on this side. And then when you go over the mountains, then you have the western slope, because that goes flat into Utah. And of course on the other side you have the eastern slope, and that goes into Kansas. So it's even flatter and much drier. So the Rocky Mountains are definitely kind of like a spine, in the human body for the state of Colorado. They're farther away the more north you get, like Fort Collins and Boulder and all that up there. They're not as close to the Rocky Mountains. They've got their own littler mountains. Boulder's got the famous flat top mountains, because they're kind of flat on one side. It's kind of strange. And I don't know what mountain range is in up by Fort Collins at the northern part of the state, but I know they have it. I know they have mountains of some sort. We just basically have the big one. We have Pikes Peak, and then we have a couple of smaller peaks that are a little over 13,000 instead of over 14,000. Howdy. There goes our motorized cousin, the Harley Davidson Tri-Glide. It's a Harley trike. And so what we're doing is we're going to head over towards Manitou. Don't know if we'll go all the way into Manitou today. Probably not. I don't know what this car is doing. Slow down and let him by. We got to come up. Because we need to go straight. And they've taken out the line, so I guess they're going to repave or something. So yeah, so we had to jump on the Walnut Street bike lane for, just a little bit so we can get over to the Midland Trail. Yeah, we do have the Colorado did pass last year or a year and a half ago. They passed the what they call the Idaho stop law, which means that we can treat a stoplight like a stop sign, or treat a stop sign like a yield. But Joe and I are 70 years old. We've been we've been stopping for lights and stopping for stop signs, for 60 freaking years. So it's a hard habit to break. Like right now, since there's no traffic, we could actually go, but we're not going to. We'll wait. We're not in that big a hurry. It does piss off other bicyclists though, because they're like, you can go, so yeah, I know I can, but I don't have to. There's nothing that says I have to. Yeah, this is a long light. Oh, come on. Sometimes the problem of it is, the trikes aren't heavy enough, or they don't disturb the magnetic field enough. So we may have to invoke the Idaho stop law if this doesn't change here once these cars come by. So we've got a couple of turners. We got just enough traffic that we can't get by, and the dang light won't change. Yeah, they are spaced perfectly. If this one hurries up, we might make it. Okay, let's go. It ain't gonna change. Yeah, I don't, like I said, we don't usually like doing that, but I guess most of the time when we get to that intersection, we've got a car, because it's always changed for us, you know. But this time it wasn't going to change, because there were no cars. So now we technically jump on this is technically the Kacharis Trail. It's like the smallest trail there is. In the whole city. It's can't be more than than like a quarter-mile long at best, because it goes right down here and then it ends at the Midland Trail. So if you got landscaping crew to trim the grass here. Okay, so whether you take a left or you take a right, you'll be on the Midland Trail, and we're going to take a right to head towards Manitou. The other way heads to the Greenway and America the Beautiful Park. So, yeah, like I said, really nice temperature today. So, yeah, so we'll probably get up here and we're going to let you guys go for a little while, because basically this part of the trail is just kind of ugly. It goes right along Highway 24, east and west, and lots of traffic noise and everything else. So once we get up, here, we'll go ahead and let you guys take an intermission, and then we will get back with you. Got to get up here where it's flat so I'm not rolling downhill. Alright. Bye for now. Okay, well, we're back. Car? So basically we left you off at 8th Street, and now we're picking you back up on 26th Street along the Midland Trail on the west side of Colorado Springs. And although we're still right next to Highway 24 west and east, we're going to kind of go off here and go underneath 26th Street, and then kind of head back, slowly kind of work our way kind of northish. It's not really north, but northish. Now the creek is really flowing today, boy. And you can still hear the cars, but not quite as bad. It looks like they had a big cleanup here probably about 3 or 4 weeks ago, and so far it looks like it's held pretty well. most of the time the big cleanups don't last very long. But it does look a lot nicer than it normally does. But yeah, like I said, I've got skin surgery on Wednesday, and it's going to take about half a day, somewhere between 4 and 6 hours. And so it's going to be a very long, boring day. And we don't know yet, but through PACE, you know, our senior medical insurance that we have right now, they're offering some howdy? Some free Tai Chi classes. So, and Joe and I have always kind of wanted to, you know, look into it and check it out. But the instructor has been on vacation. So we don't know if we'll be going tomorrow to start our Tai Chi lessons, or it'll be next Tuesday. Probably next Tuesday, because we haven't heard anything from really anybody. So, and I take it they only have, you know, the one person doing the thing. God, what a fucking mess. Yeah. Like I said, it wouldn't be so bad if, you know, the homeless people would at least keep the trash off the trail. But, you know, they want to use the trail too, you know, and hey, you know, the trails, you know, you're supposed to think of the trail like a road, you know, for bicycles and walkers and stuff, you know, you shouldn't be blocking it. I know. It's really hard to figure out where to be, you know. I mean, I feel for them, they're in a bad situation, but if you get, you know, they just, like I said, just keep stuff off the trail, and that would be fine. So do you want to do Starbucks or go all the way into Schriever Park and then go up and get an iced tea from Subway's? I think he's parking, dear. It doesn't really matter, but that's fine. When it comes down to it, tea is tea. Yeah, so now we're, as you can tell, we're back out at, this is 31st Street and Highway 24. Have to be real careful here because it does have an elevated crossing, but sometimes that don't even seem to slow them down. So, oh, I gotta try to make this turn past Joe here. Oh, we gotta go, Joe. Let's go. Yeah, got fortunate. Somebody must have crossed not too long ago. Okay, so I guess we're gonna have an interruption here, and we're gonna go over here to 31st Street and Colorado Avenue. That's the Midland Trail continuing west. This is just, I guess it's technically part of the trail. So this is gonna take us across the Colorado Avenue. over to Starbucks there on the corner. So, all right. Didn't get to put much in. All right. We'll get back to you. Bye. We're back. Passing on your right. Thank you. One. Passing. Thank you. Thank you. Well, we're back. Sorry we didn't do a lot of the Midland Trail coming back, because basically it's the same thing. And we headed into downtown Colorado Springs to get over to the Weber Street bike lane to stop over at the drive-in, Tasty Freeze drive-in, and get a unsweetened iced tea, because although it's a cooler day than the last few, it's still pretty warm, you know, by now. I mean, it's like what is it, that's like 2:15, 2:30 p.m. Mountain Standard Time. And yeah, so we're now back on, we're on Shook's Run just for a little bit. Then we pick up the Rock Island Connector, and that takes us up to Cascade Street. Well, there's no bike lane at that point, but eventually the Cascade Street bike lane, and then we'll head for the storage unit and call it a day. We put in a pretty good, should have over 20 miles by the time we get back to the storage unit, and then we got to walk 1.2 miles home, pulling a wagon with, you know, batteries and everything else in it. So, so that usually wears us out totally. And then we end up, you know, getting finally fixing dinner. And yeah, but so we just want to say really appreciate you guys and gals hanging in there with us. If you're new, welcome. If you're an old timer, we really appreciate it. Passing on your right. Thank you. So yeah, now we're on the Rock Island Connector. And yeah, so I said please like, subscribe, and share our videos. We'd really appreciate that. And if you want to be notified when our next video comes out automatically, click on the little bell logo that's in the YouTube page itself. And like I said, we really do appreciate everybody hanging in there with us. And hopefully you got to do something good today, and you weren't like stuck, you know, the whole day. But yeah, we probably won't be riding tomorrow because the rain chances are supposed to be coming up a lot higher, and I need to do a couple of errands before my skin surgery on Wednesday. So so basically Tuesday and Wednesday are going to be shot, because it's not that it's a 4 to 6 hour surgery, but they have to do, you know, they have to do some kind of a graft, and then, you know, that takes an hour, and they're in, you know, in their labs, and then, you know, you got to sit around and wait for that, and then they do whatever procedure, I guess, they decide that they're gonna do. So it's just a lot of time consuming, pain in the bottom end stuff. But yeah, get up here to Cascade Street, and that's where the video will end. Okay. Now, so for BJ and Joe Ondo out and about on their recumbents, just want to say happy trails. Bye.